The U.S. and China continue to spar over Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement. Most in the city seem more concerned about how that tension will continue to impact the economy. Now, aside from Afifa, our colleagues from Asia First on TV and radio, Bakhtiar and Yasmin Jonkers, have been taking the pulse of business in the territory.
Good evening from Hong Kong, where it's been some hours since the people in the city woke up to the news of U.S. President Donald Trump signing the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act. But you know what? It didn't catch too many people by surprise.
That's right, and quite along expected lines, China strongly condemned the move. China dubbed it a blatant hegemonic act with, quote, sinister intention. But observers say that Beijing will exercise discretion before any retaliatory move.
We saw this coming because, this is really a political gesturing that fits in very well with the anti-China rhetoric that's going on around the world, particularly in the USA. And it's really a contradiction in terms, because when you talk about freedom and democracy, human rights, I mean, Hong Kong is one of the freest places in the world, and I don't think human rights are being trampled on in Hong Kong.
Observers also say Mr. Trump's move will escalate trade tensions between the U.S. and China. The two economic powers have been negotiating a so-called Phase 1 deal to find a means to end what's been a prolonged and damaging trade war. And
those trade tensions, coupled with the ongoing protests, have taken quite a toll on Hong Kong's economy. The city fell into recession in the third quarter, the first since the global financial crisis. And analysts we spoke to say the outlook is bleak as well.
Hong Kong economy itself will continue to slide in the fourth quarter, maybe in the next year as well. Especially, as I said, tourism and also the demand for housing property market will slide further.
The two main economic drivers of Hong Kong are looking pretty bad: tourism and retail. Now, tourist arrivals have fallen some 40% from a year ago, and retail sales in August was the worst ever on record.
And Hong Kong's stock market, though, it's been resilient amid all of this. Of course, since the protest began in June, it's down over 3%, but for the whole year, it's up again, some 3%. But analysts are concerned that the city's over $5 trillion market may not have factored in a repricing of corporate earnings.
Consensus is still suggesting around 7% year-on-year earnings growth for next year in Hong Kong equities, which seem too high to me. So should there be any deterioration in sentiment as a result of earnings downside risk, I think that could create another downside.
Hong Kong is China's financial window to the world. It is the bridge which connects any overseas investor looking to enter mainland China. And analysts say if Hong Kong suffers, there are implications for China.
Hong Kong stands as a gateway city especially to China. Many businesses relying on Chinese consumers and businesses. This stance will not change. So Hong Kong still give it a good legal framework, transparency, and the U.S. monetary policy continue to support Hong Kong. So we won't really see immediate move out from Hong Kong to some other gateway cities.
To help businesses weather the economic downturn, the Hong Kong government has offered tax concessions and also subsidies. But analysts say concerted efforts are needed to resolve the political turmoil the city finds itself in.
So tomorrow, on the final day of our special coverage, can you believe it? My goodness, a week's gone by. Listen, we're going to continue looking at the impact of these protests that have been plaguing this territory for 6 months now. We will shine the spotlight on the banking and finance sector, which is the key pillar of Hong Kong's economy.
And we're not just talking about business and the economy, we will also talk politics, as we will be joined by Regina Ip, who is a member of the Hong Kong Executive Council and Legislative Council. We'll ask her about the district election results and its implications for the territory.
So much to do tomorrow on Friday, our last day here in Hong Kong. So please join Asia First for our simulcast on CNA TV and radio CNA 938 from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hong Kong, Singapore time.